is going to be led by the National Youth Council, who will help us to understand, to see, and to find where there is that special link between us and government as young people, and especially as students in the university. The CEO for the National Youth Council, Bwana Roy Saka, but I know that when I see this wonderful lady coming, situpige makofi yakikuja namna hii. She looks so nice, gorgeous.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning once again. It's a good morning, and this is the National Youth Council going to be presenting, and so I expect the youth to be vibrant. So the National Youth Council, our slogan is Sauti ya Vijana. So when I say NYC, you respond Sauti ya Vijana. So NYC, Sauti ya Vijana. Yes, so that is our slogan this morning. My name is Juliet Owino. I'm from the National Youth Council. I'm representing our CEO this morning, Mr. Roy Sasaka. And this morning I'm grateful for the leadership of Kippra for granting us such an opportunity, and even to the leadership of Kisii University for giving us such an opportunity to come and just share on the government opportunities that are available for the youth. So this morning, I'm supposed to be discussing on the government opportunities for youth empowerment. And before I begin, it will be good just to let us know what youth empowerment is. And for us, youth empowerment is the ability for a youth to take charge of their lives. And how do you take charge of your life? You take charge of your life by, first of all, knowing what you need to do and taking action in what you're going to be doing. So for us, that is youth empowerment. And how do you achieve youth empowerment? You achieve it by active participation. So we will be looking at who National Youth Council is before we go to the youth empowerment opportunities. And National Youth Empowerment, it's a corporate body that is under the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. All right, we'll go on and sort it out. I was saying National Youth Council is a state corporation in the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. And we came into being through the enactment of the National Youth Council Act of 2009, which was revised in 2014 as the official voice of the youth. Our mission is to enhance youth capacity to actively participate in economic, social, and political spheres for prosperity through strategic consultations, engagements, and partnerships. That is part of the reason why we are here today, because we have been able to partner with Kippra and even Kisii University, so that we are able to empower youth and give them the chance to actively participate. Our vision is to be a dynamic institution championing youth empowerment for national stability and prosperity. Maybe I should talk about our mandate. Our mandate is to harness and advocate for youth voice, to inform government policy and legislation. It should be noted that the youth voice was not heard in And so the youth complain that they don't have a forum where they can be able to voice their concerns. And that is how National Youth Council was formed. And so that is our mandate to harness and advocate for the youth voice, to inform government policy and legislation. As I said earlier, we do this together with partners to enable us have this information. The functions of the council, we have 15 functions that if you look at our act, you'll be able to go through them. But the main one that I would want to talk about today is advocacy stroke lobbying, which is what we do most of the time. Being the voice of the youth, we are supposed to be the people who are going to voice that youth at the government level. So we go down to the grassroots, we speak to the youth, we get to know what problems they have, or rather what situations we should be focusing on, and that is how we are able to inform government. We do that through research as well, because we need programs that are informed and are evidence-based. And so at the end of it, it informs policy. Onto the programs, the youth empowerment programs. We have programs that are being managed at National Youth Council. One of the programs that we have is the Accelerate program. This is a program that has just started, and it's for the universities. So I guess this would be good news to you students, because we are supposed to give a chance to the students who have been able to, who can come up with solutions to problems that we have. We are looking at helping them meet the players in the industry so that they can be able to be helped, harness their talents, so that they are able to be employers of their own. Accelerate addresses the skills gap in higher education by connecting the industry sector with potential workforce and with the right skills to solve real-world problems. It is a program that we hope can help create jobs, even for the students, as we look at other government opportunities as well. We also have another program which is called Fursa Mashinani. Fursa is a Kiswahili word for opportunity. So we are giving our youth the opportunity to come up with solutions to problems that they could be having. An example of the Fursa Mashinani challenge that we had recently was the Fursa versus Virus challenge. This challenge was a challenge that was to give the youth opportunity to give us solutions that was brought about by the COVID virus that we had. And because it brought with it problems, we were hoping that it will also be a blessing in disguise. And so we were able to run the tech and non-tech solutions challenges towards economic recovery. And the winners of the challenge, partly sponsored by the Kenya Pipeline Corporation, Royal Media Services, and Huawei Technologies, were unveiled during the International Youth Day presided over by President Uhuru. So this is an opportunity for the youth. We get to the grassroots. I know we might not have been in Kisii yet, but those are things that are underway. And we give opportunity to the youth to be able to come up with solutions. And from the challenges, we are able to award the youth, and they are able to move on with their lives. We also have a Tujengane program. These are programs that Tujengane is a word for building ourselves. And in building ourselves, we have sports from talent shows, which we do. Youth in youth groups are able to come up with such shows, and we're able to attend and able to support in areas that they need. Some of them need to be elevated so that they are able to be seen in platforms that they were not able to get if they were just at the grassroots. So we are able to do that. We have creative challenges. At the moment, we have our newsletter, and as we started working on the newsletter, the first content that we got was got from a creative challenge. We gave a chance to the youth, and they were able to come up with articles, they were able to come up with creative cartoons, and that's how we were able to get our first newsletter. So we have more creative challenges that will be coming up. You are encouraged just to keep checking on our social media pages for such opportunities. Exchange programs as well. As you might know, we had a youth conference in 2020, last year, and this was organized by Youth Agenda. And so these are the exchange programs that we are able to get youth from different places to attend such programs so that they're able to exchange ideas. On to the government opportunities. This is Ajira Digital. How many of us have been able to make use of Ajira Digital, or rather have heard of it? How many? Okay, at least quite a good number. And I would want to encourage us, because we are in this season that we are having the new normal. The Ajira Digital platform is here, and it's supposed to be helping us get online writings, and in that way we are able to employ ourselves and get self-sufficient. So there are courses that are offered by Ajira Digital, and if you go to the website, this is actually under the Ministry of ICT and Youth Affairs. If you go to the website, you'll be able to get the courses that are offered, and you'll be able to go through the courses for free. This is an opportunity that you should not be able to miss, because if you have a laptop and you have internet, then you're good to go with Ajira Digital. We have inter and intergenerational dialogues as National Youth Council. This is an opportunity that we give to the youth to just discuss contemporary issues that affect youth in the communities. And this is done together with leaders, is done together with the community, because then the youth cannot really come up with solutions just by themselves. We need to know how these problems are coming about. We need to know how we can be supported by the leadership and even by the community. So we usually have intergeneration dialogues. We call it Sawazisha Kumzo as National Youth Council. And we try to go to the grassroots as well to get this information. And from there, it informs our programs, so that as we go around the country, then it means that the youth voice is heard pretty much. We have talent shows at the point that we usually go for the intergeneration dialogues. This is just to showcase our different cultures. You will realize that the talent shows is what will come up with the people who are probably going to be showcasing their talent, even in singing and all. And as we had yesterday from EDF, they have a loan that could be able to help you just make your talent be an employment opportunity. We also conduct Green in Kenya initiative, We all know that this is a presidential directive that we should be able to green our nation. So we conduct such activities as well. So these are the opportunities that are available for youth. What we do is that when we go on ground, it is the youth who are given the opportunity to source for the trees. They are given the opportunities to source for any other thing that you might want to be doing so that they are able to be self-sufficient. Yesterday, one of my colleagues was here to speak about youth enterprise development plan. As National Youth Council, this is one of the funds that we encourage the youth to take up so that they can be able to be self-sufficient. Affirmative funds are the youth who are given the opportunity. They are meant to help the individuals, people living with any other things to help the women. So that at this point, we have two affirmative funds. There is youth enterprise. Yesterday, one of my colleagues, we also have a way of fund. One also actually one of the facilities that we encourage the youth to take up so that they can be able to. Even as we take advantage of the youth enterprise, affirmative funds is the youth who are given the opportunity the other time. We have other funds that you will also take advantage of. And when you go to the website, the information that is required of you, we also have it only needs to take a step of one. Don't say one, just look for this information because it cannot come looking for you. Encourage the youth. We have AGCO. AGCO is access to government procurement. The point where we have given a chance as the youth to business with government. And when you're doing business with government, when you go to do business with government are there. Definitely as a youth, you're supposed to be within the age bracket. You're supposed to have a registered business. And when you do business with government, this is specifically for youth, women, and people with disabilities. So as youth, we need to take advantage of this. We have been told about how we can finance our NPOs once we get them. So let us not shy away in doing business with government, thinking that there's a lot of bureaucracy. Kindly go ahead and try, and you'll be able to get an opportunity to do business with government. We have public service commission internships. This is mostly for those who have finished their studies, and it targets unemployed Kenyan graduates from recognized training institutions who have completed their degree courses within the last 3 years and have not been exposed to work experience related to their areas of study. So this is another government opportunity that you can take advantage of, especially when you are done with your courses. And it is there is really no age limit for this. But when you look at it critically, this is an advantage to the youth because most of the time, by the time you're finishing your undergrad, you're still within the youth bracket and you're able to take advantage of this. So these are the opportunities that you need to take advantage of as a youth. We have KYOP. KYOP, it's a transformational project that aims to empower and uplift the well-being of the youth in Kenya. This is basically focusing on the youth who did not manage to go to university. But why am I discussing this today? We are supposed to be ambassadors. We are supposed to be able to pass this information to other youth because we've been able to get this opportunity. So this is a one-man project that is supposed to be giving essential training to youth. It's supposed to be giving internships. It's supposed to be giving business grants there is this Ben and Abyss. It's an opportunity that you're given a chance to showcase your business, and then you're able to be given the grants to run your business. So KEOP is also a government opportunity that we could take advantage of, and this is focusing on the people who've not been able to go into tertiary institutions. To end all these opportunities that I've been talking about, the government opportunities, the opportunities that are being offered by National Youth Council, they are all available on our social media pages. I would urge us to take a moment and just go to the social media, if it's Twitter, if it's Facebook, if it's Instagram, LinkedIn, we are available everywhere, because that is how you will get this information. We post even jobs from other institutions in our social media pages, so that way you can be able to get these opportunities easily, if at all you're not able to access all those other websites. So with that, I'd like to end my presentation, because I was meant to just discuss the government opportunities that are available for the youth. As National Youth Council, we endeavor to bring the opportunities to the forefront so that they can be able to be seen by the youth, and that's through our social media pages. So with that, thank you so much. I will invite questions if there are any. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Let us appreciate Madam for that wonderful presentation. We'll change that class so that it becomes like something that is within a university institution. Let us appreciate her with a factory. You know, she has shown us how to become products of wonderful economic development. Tunampatia 5 factorial. 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you for your time. Now, Madam has told us so many things, and very, very significant for us. One or two that I think that are very important. I want to ask, how many of us have registered for the free courses in Ajira Digital? Wangapi wamejaribu kuingia hapo na wakafanya course? Look at you. So you want your parents to pay money when the government is giving you free courses? Imagine. And you have a smartphone which can help you learn. Smartphone. Can I see your phones, please? Raise your phones up. Nione simu zenu. Nione simu. Nione. Can you imagine? None of you has a foolish phone. Kila mtu ako na smartphone. Can you imagine? Kila mtu ako na pigia ujamaa ako na smartphone nzuri sana. Now guys, let us not shy off from using the opportunities. Let's assume you never knew, now we know, because sometimes ignorance reduces our ability and capacity to achieve things. She spoke about the idea of AGBO. I believe that probably yesterday we were told how to begin dreams and turn them into business. So here is funding. You've been told how you can turn that into working with government or helping government do things. Madam spoke about KEOP. Now, Kasema, she's speaking about it because we are ambassadors. But trust me, even us in university, some of those technical skills, wakati umetoka umeenda nyumbani, you do not have anything to do. You think those skills can't help you? They will definitely help you. But we now know so that we can help. So Madam says, let us see if we have any query, any comment. Any of us who has a quick question, quick comment on what the National Council is doing? Yes, I see 2 quick hands here. I will need somebody to carry this other mic and walk around with it, except me. Somebody to walk with this mic except me. But for now, I hope it's done. It's not to work on it so that it's all.
Yes, I'm Daniela, and I was asking for the Public Service Commission. Are you going to be given a job related to your work study, related to the course you're studying, or you're just going to be given a random job. Then for the public service commission again, is this limited to the degree holders or also the students going diploma courses can be given the job? Thank you.
Yes, there was an extra hand there. Madam is putting that down so that she can answer one.
My name is Gere from School of Health Science. I have a concern. In those courses offered by Ajira, most of the time they send you a link. Then when you want to join the link, the class is full. I don't know how you can increase the capacity of the class because I've done it several times, waiting for the link, the class is full. So maybe put into consideration.
My name is Mansur. You have talked about the learning programs, about the shows. So my question is, how have you been able to run the show despite of the COVID-19 protocol? Because we see about the social distancing. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can take those, and if there is one more, we will take it after. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, I'll go to the first question. She asked about you will just be given any placement with the PSC. The PSC does not give any placements just like that. You definitely have to give the courses that you studied. Then definitely try and pair you up with institutions that are intended with what you studied. In the event that you think that is not the right place for you, there's always a reference, and PSC will always place you in an area that you think fit for you. So it is not just placement. It is placement with what you studied. Of course, we cannot take somebody who does science, probably like national youth task, because they'll not be able to gain the skills that they require. So they don't just place like that, they place according to the studied. You also asked if it is only for degree holder. Yes, at the moment it is for degree holders because I think that is what the guidelines change at this point. So it is something that probably they're still looking into. But right now, they're talking about people from tertiary institutions. So most of these tertiary institutions have been the university. So I think it's the degree order at this point. It is something that we can follow up and just get to know more information and give it to you. Yeah. There was also a question on Nigeria. I think I wouldn't be able to answer this at this point because if the class gets full, then it means that you will have to keep track because it looks like they have to have a particular number to be able to start this course. It is a concern as well. And so, as the National Youth Council, this is the comments and feedback that we are taking positively, and we'll be able to take it back to the team working on this. And we hope that it is something that can be sorted. Yes. You asked how we've been able to conduct the children learning program amid the COVID pandemic. We have been able to comply with the COVID protocols that were required. Whenever we went to a place, definitely there's now a number of people that have to be there. And some part of it is done virtually for the people who are not able to attend physically. So we've been able to conduct them, not many, just a few, because again of the fact that we cannot keep traveling to every other place. But in the events that we've been able to undertake, been able to just adhere to the protocol as required by the Ministry of Health. I don't know whether I've answered that.
Thank you. Any other? I think on the IRA program, I have actually worked with people on it. It's working, but sometimes maybe the course you're taking has a higher demand, especially when it comes to things to do with IT. And it's a great opportunity. If you just link in there, it's a great opportunity. They even remind you. They will send you a text today, an email later, and ask you to register. How was the training? It's a wonderful platform. I think I can acknowledge that. Any other query to Madam before we? Yes, I think that means that we are grateful. We are proud of what the National Youth Council is doing, and we want to welcome that question there or comment. Yes.
Mine is just a question. I wanted to ask, when is the intake of the Public Service Corporation internship?
The intake happens every year. Yeah. I would urge us to go to the website because some of these dates change depending on what is going on at the moment. So kindly endeavor to visit the PSC website because the dates are usually there, but it happens every year. It happens every year, and right now it has been centralized. Initially, people just used to, organization used to just get in terms on their own, but right now it has been centralized, and it is PSC that is going to be giving organizations in terms. So have a look at the website. It happens every year, just that the dates sometimes change. Yes, but get to know from the website. Visit it often so that you're not passed by the gate. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now we want to bring Madam back to her seat by using the Karabanda Señorita Makofi, because she looks very smart, by the way, and she has done a very smart presentation. Kama ujui Karabanda Señorita usome wengine wakicheza tafadhali. Kama hujaienda Spain. So 3, 2, 1, go Karabanda. Karabanda Señorita. Señorita. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wanted to recognize that in the house we have our Executive Director, Kippra, Dr. Rose. All this time. You are not running away. Madam is here with us. We also have the board director is here, Madam Rose Rono. Alikuja mapema hata kujipita. Haya, tumpungie mkono na tumpe makofi. Our sister from the SME who did a wonderful work. In fact, I'm still trying to get connection so that I can learn her style. I was told I have been asked many questions. Can she come back again and also teach us something? I don't know what, but they are asking. Hey, wait for us. Thank you very much. Our team from the Wider, yes, they are here. You can see they are here. They are ready to continue working with us. Customer said I required. I am suspicious at the end. And of course, our presenter for the national values is here. So ladies and gentlemen, all of us present, let us appreciate ourselves once with a round of applause. Thank you very much. Now I want to request the choir to come back here on stage and give us a number. And as they do this, I am notifying the Vision 2030 team that you will be next after this presentation. The Vision 2030 team is going to do their presentation virtually from Nairobi. So we need to be very, very careful on how they go so that we follow everything they are going to help us. COVID-19, as the Vice Chancellor said yesterday, and it's that part, but also very positive aspect, whereby now this technology, it is possible now, we can be able to continue doing things in Kisii while the people doing them are in Nairobi. These are young men and women from Kisii University who are talented in music. There are so many things to about talent. They will do a number for us as we proceed with the rest of the things. Then Monica and Joy, you will be on standby. I'll be calling you sometime soon to present to us an item. Monica and Joy are from one other university. They are not from Kisii University. They are nice, but they like to follow this program, and we appreciate your talent. Well,
ladies and gentlemen, again, it's Kisii University Choir. We are going to sing a patriotic song which is familiar to all of us, entitled Tushangilie Watoto. Welcome.
Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda. Daima. Kenya nchi tunayoipenda. Daima. Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Daima. Nchi yenye baraka. Daima. Tumekomboa Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, tumebadili mwendo. Daima. Katiba mpya. Daima. Tutalinda katiba mpya. Daima. Anayependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda haki kwa watu wote. Daima. Mwenye kutenda haki. Daima. Mtu mwenye kutenda haki. Daima. Na ukipenda Kenya ujitengane na mambo yenye kuvunja amani. Daima. Hatutaki matata Kenya. Daima. Hatutaki matata Kenya. Daima. Wenye nchi Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Wenye nchi Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele nchi yenye upendo, hatutaacha Kenya daima na milele. Eba Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya ni yetu nitasahau Kenya, na nitabaki Kenya daima na milele. Eba Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya ni mama yetu, tena ni baba yetu, hatutaacha Kenya daima na milele. Eba Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Hatutaiacha Kenya nchi yangu, mimi ni mwana Kenya daima. Umoja wetu Kenya tudumishe, mimi ni mwana Kenya daima. Sitadanganywa kamwe na porojo, mimi ni mwana Kenya daima. Wenzangu, Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima.
tafadhali, and that is a very wonderful rendition, our patriotic state.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being our audience. The next song is also a unity song entitled Pigambi, which we also composed by ourselves, and we hope we shall enjoy. We shall sing alongside the accompaniment.
Thank you, choir, for that wonderful presentation. We are all invited so that we can work together to make sure that our country is peaceful and our country can develop. If we don't get peaceful, if we don't get united, if we don't all pull together, there is no development for our country. I'm saying this because I am preparing to be sure that John Budia is a member of the Vision 2030 the Delivery Secretariat, and he is going to present to us what is the long-term development agenda of this nation. What has the government got, and what is the space of young people, and especially you in universities and tertiary institutions? What is your space in ensuring that that dream, that agenda of the government comes through? John, if you are ready, please, we are ready for you. Yes, I can see him. He's getting ready somewhere there. Yes, John. Thank you very much. Take it away from us.
Thank you, sir. Our Executive Director, Kippra, Dr. Rose Ngugi, our board member, Rose Rono, leadership from the Kisii University, members of the teaching staff, Kippra staff,
John, I think you are in, we know that you are in some conference and maybe they are not giving you sufficient network, but we hope that you go through. John, are you okay now? Can we try you and see? John, please unmute. You are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, and we hope that it remains that way.
Yes, sorry for the hitch. Are you able to see the screen?
Possible that you change your positioning because the light is blurring everything that your vision is not clear. Yeah, that is nice. That is nice.
Okay. Thank you. What about the screen? Are you able to see the view?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. That is the outline of my presentation. It's about the facts about Kenya. the Vision 2030, nuts and bolts, and then the medium-term plan 3, and then the assessing the implementation of the Vision 2030. First, to start with, the Vision 2030 is our long-term economic blueprint for the country, which was crafted in 2008. That was after successful implementation of the economic recovery strategy for wealth and employment creation, which came to an end in 2007. It came into place in 2003 up to 2007. So after the implementation of that recovery strategy, the government thought of coming up with a long-term development plan, which is the Kenya Vision 2030, which came into place in the year 2008, moving up to the year 2030. The Vision 2030 is implemented through a 5-year successive medium-term plans. The first medium-term plan was implemented between the period 2008 to 2012. We had the second medium-term plan of the Kenya Vision 2030, which was implemented between 2013 and 2017. And currently we are implementing the third medium-term plan of the Kenya Vision 2030 from the period 2018 to 2022. The third medium-term plan of the Kenya Vision 2030 is also linked to the Big Four agenda of the government. That is 2018 to 2022, the 4 key priorities we are implementing as a government. This plan, they are also linked to what the county governments they are doing through the county integrated development plans. All these plans, they are feeding into the Kenya Vision 2030. So even what we are doing here today at Kisii is feeding into the Kenya Vision 2030. So the vision for the national development, this is a description of the Vision 2030. It's a framework for Kenya's socio-economic and political planning since 2008. It's also the basis for all development planning, all what we are doing in the ministries, in the state departments, in the county governments. They are feeding into the long-term development plan, which is the Kenya Vision 2030. It's also the need for foreign inputs. We also get a lot of capital support through the foreign direct investments, entrepreneurship, the skilled labor, and also the technology. For stability, we needed the Vision 2030 through the political pillar where we have the rule of law, issues to do with the devolution. We also have the need for export-led growth in terms of rather than the import substitution, where we want to grow our infant industries so that we can be able to grow our economy in terms of industrialization through the export-led growth. And then it's also the basis for value addition rather than the primary production, service orientation, and also the tourism sector, which is also one of the major sectors of our economy. In terms of the geostrategic location, what we say is that Kenya is strategically located, as you can see in the map of Africa where Kenya is. And in terms of trade, we are taking a lot of advantage through the port of Mombasa, which is also the gate to the gateway to our Eastern and Central Africa region. We also have the direct flights, which we are tapping up into the market of the United States of America. And then the JKIA, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, connecting the Africa, Europe, Asia, and also the United States of America. And then the main transport hub to the most of the African countries in the region, with great developments in infrastructure, highways, and also the standard gauge railway. Moving forward is that the Kenya's the profile. You can be able to see the landmass in terms of the square kilometer, the population of Kenya as per the census, which was conducted in 2019. We are at 47 million. And also you can see our GDP is also growing significantly. The economic growth is at 2019, the economy grew by 5.4%. We had a projection by 2021 at 6.4, but the way things are moving, the economy has been negatively impacted by the emergency of COVID-19 pandemic. So we are still waiting for the statistics from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics so that we can be able to know in 2020 how our economy performed. In terms of GDP, you can see from 2002, the economy was doing very bad. We came up with the first economic recovery strategy for wealth and employment creation. And our economy grew up to 7%. And from 2012, you can also be able to see the economy, the GDP, is growing from 4.6% to 5.4% as at 2019. That is the calendar year. In terms of the interest rates, these are some of the macroeconomic indicators for the economy. You can be able to see the interest rates, they're coming down at in the year 2002. The interest rate in terms of percentage, we were doing at 8.338. Currently in 2019, we are at 7.17%. Inflation is also coming down. The year 2007, we were at 9.8. In 2019, the inflation rate is at 5.2. The structure of the Kenyan economy, you can be able to see our Kenyan economy, the greatest contributors to the GDP. We have the agriculture, forest, and fishing at 4.1%. We also have the service industry, wholesale retail trade at 17%, manufacturing, which is doing at 7.5%. And for us to be able to grow into an industrialized country, we want to push the manufacturing contribution to the GDP from 7.5% in 2019 to 15% by the year 2022. Moving forward is on the issues to do the overarching goal of the vision. What is this vision we are talking about? We are talking about globally competitiveness of our economy, rapidly industrializing country. For our youth to be able to get jobs, we need to industrialize our economy so that we can be able now to create opportunities for our people in terms of employment creation, in terms of market for our raw materials, so that we stop exporting raw materials, but finished products from our country. We want to have a prosperous country, middle income country, and high quality of life to all its citizens. When we talk about high quality of life, what do we mean? We mean access to clean water, clean and safe drinking water, issues to do with health, good health care for our population, issues to do with employment for our youth, quality education for all, and also in terms of the poverty reduction levels for our society. So currently we are at lower middle income country category, and we are aspiring to be at upper middle income country by the year 2030. The vision for our competitive vision is just like a house, the room where we are currently, where it has the foundation. The foundation or the macroeconomic foundations for economic transformations. These were strategies which were set up to give us a strong base so that as we grow our economy, the economy is growing on a base which has already been established. So the vision has got the enablers or the foundations for economic transformation and 3 pillars of our vision. The first pillar of our Kenya Vision 2030 is the economic pillar. And the goal of the economic pillar was to maintain a sustained economic growth of 10% for the next 20 years. We also have a social pillar. Social pillar, this where we have issues to do with the social sectors of our economy. For example, we have education, we have health sectors, housing sectors, urbanization, population sectors. And the main goal of the social sector was to have a just and cohesive society, enjoying equitable socio-economic development in a clean and secure environment. And then we have the political pillar, an issue-based, people-centered, result-oriented, accountable democratic political system, where we have issues to do with the devolution. Our Constitution of Kenya was born as part of the implementation of the political pillar. Issues to do with the rule of law, reforms we can see we are having in our judiciary and also the judicial system. And then we have there where we have the roof, that is our overarching goal of the Vision 2030, which is a globally competitive and prosperous upper middle income country, providing high quality of life to all its citizens in a clean and secure environment. That is our overarching goal, where we want to be as a country by the year 2030. In terms of the implementation of the vision, we have the Vision 2030 flagship project. Vision 2030 flagship project, these are mega projects, high impact projects in terms of employment creation, revenue generation, poverty reduction, employment creation, and also the magnitude and complexities of the projects, because most of them, they are being implemented through a multi-sectoral approach. So these are mega projects which are being implemented by the government. And in 2018 to 2022, in our third medium-term plan of the Vision 2030, under economic pillar, we have 47 flagship projects, social pillar, we have 67, political pillar 13, and enablers or the foundations, we have 54. Currently, we are implementing a total of 181 flagship projects. And our main work as the Secretariat is to track implementation of the Vision 2030 flagship project, and also the spearheading and coordinating the implementation of the vision. Under the foundations of the Vision 2030, we have the strategies which were put into place so that we can be able to spearhead the social, political, and economic growth. And one of the strategy is on the macroeconomic stability for long term. You've been able to see the macroeconomic indicator in terms of the interest rate, the inflation, the economic growth, how far we are in terms of achievement of some of the macroeconomic stability we had envisioned. We have the continuity in the governance reforms, enhanced equity and wealth creation opportunities, infrastructure, energy, science and technology, land reforms, human resource development, security, public service, and national values. Under infrastructure, during the first medium-term plan and also the second medium-term plan, the government concentrated too much in terms of setting up the right infrastructure, the roads construction, the ports, the port of Mombasa, and also through the LAPSET corridor, you can be able to see how our roads have improved over time. The telecommunication industry, you can see now, I've heard everybody in the room has got a smartphone. That is as a result of the enhancement we had in terms of growing our telecommunication industry and also tapping into the technology in terms of also other companies which came on board, Safaricom company, some of the multinational companies like the Airtel, which also brought some change in our telecommunication industry. So these were the foundations and are the foundations for economic transformation. And then from there, we have now our pillars, starting with the political pillar. The strategies were the rule of law and human rights, electoral and political reforms, democracy and public service delivery, transparency and accountability, and also security, peace building. And under the electoral reforms, you were also able to see during the last elections, there were some reforms in terms of also the way we were voting, in terms of the use of technology, moving from the manual balloting to electronic voting system. Issues to do with service delivery, we've been able to see some of the reforms which have been there in terms of public service delivery. The Huduma Center, one-stop shop of the government. You can be able to access the facilities you may want in our Huduma Center. The issues to do the higher education loans. Now you can go to Huduma Center, get a form, do application, and also go there to confirm the status of your application. Issues to do with identification card, issues to do with NSSF, Kenya Revenue Authority, filing the taxes and everything. All these services are under one roof. This was as a result of public service delivery. And also what we are doing today is also as a result of enhancement of the service delivery to Mwananchi or to our citizens. Under social pillar, we have 6 sectors. to be able to invest in the people of Kenya, the following strategies are very key. That is education and also training, where the universities, secondary, and also the primary education falls. During MTP1, we came up with a program for free primary education, which led to an increase in the transition rates from primary to secondary. During MTP2 period, also, we had issues to do with the free day secondary school, which some of us are beneficiary of that system. And also education reforms. Can be able to see the reforms we've had in our technical vocational education training. Now the TVTs, the equipping, the construction, the infrastructural development in our technical vocational education and training centers. Now the TVETs, TVET students, they can be able to access higher education loans from the government. We have the issues to do with the health. We are implementing through a pilot in 4 counties, the universal health coverage for all. We also have water and sanitation, environment issues, housing and urbanization, and then gender, youth, and vulnerable groups. Under housing, this is one, and also the health sector. These are two sectors which falls under the Big 4 agenda of the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The issues to do with affordable housing for all our people, reduction in the cost of construction, and also the cost of building materials through enhancement of our technology, which we are using in the construction industry. Under the economic pillar, we've got 8 sectors of the economy, starting with the agriculture, which forms the backbone of our economy. We have the tourism industry, the oil and gas, manufacturing sector, business process and offshoring, financial services, trade, and the blue economy. During MTP2 period, we had oil and gas coming on board as one of the sectors, and during MTP3 we had issues to do with the blue economy. Blue economy is the issue, handles issues to do with the fisheries, the marine, the resources we have in our lakes, in our big rivers, in our marine ecosystem. The blue economy came on board during the 3rd medium-term plan, that is 2018 to 2022. In terms of the Big 4 agenda, we have 4 key priorities for the period 2018 to 2022. The first priority is on manufacturing, the second one being affordable housing, universal health coverage, food security. Under manufacturing, what we are talking about is currently the manufacturing sector contributes 7.5% to the GDP. We are saying we want to enhance that contribution from 7.5 to 15% during the medium-term plan 3 period. That is from 2018 to 2022. How do we achieve this? This is through enhancing our agro-processing procedures for value addition of our tea, coffee, meat, dairy products, fruits and nuts, and oil. We also want to grow the textile industry, the apparels, and the leather industry. That is true. You can be able to see what is happening with one of our textile industry or our textile company, which is in Eldoret. That is the Rivertex company. Apparels and also leather. We are also pushing for leather because of its big contribution to the economy and also the world economy. In terms of leather, we are establishing a leather industrial development park at the river so that we can be able to tap the potential we have under the leather sector. We also have the establishment of the special economic zones. Heavy industries where we have oil, gas, and mining, and also the oil, iron, and steel. The government is also in the process of setting up an iron and steel company that is in Lamu, which is also one of our flagship projects. Under affordable housing, the plan is during the plan period 2018-2022. We want to construct 500,000 affordable new houses for our Kenyan families. These houses are being constructed in our 47 counties The first houses have already been done in Nairobi, in Ngara area. In Machakos, we have some affordable houses which are coming up. In Embu, we have some houses also coming up. In Makueni, we have some houses coming up for civil servants, and in other parts of the country. This is going to be achieved through collaborative efforts, through the private sector initiatives and also the government initiatives. What we are doing, issues to do with the private sector motivation in terms of tax reduction, offering incentives, and also government improving the infrastructural development in terms of good roads into some areas, provision of electricity, water, and other social amenities. Universal health, we want to see to ensure 100% universal health coverage for our society. This is through a provision of cost subsidies on essential health services in our hospitals, a provision of drugs to our hospitals. Although health is a devolved function, there is a collaborative effort between the two levels of government, the national government and the 47 county governments, to enhance the health sector initiatives. Under food security and nutrition, we want to ensure we reach 100% food and nutrition security for our people. We need to see a 34% increase of our daily income to our farmers. We also need to ensure 27% reduction in malnutrition, not just food, but nutritious food to our people. In terms of the assessment of the implementation of the Vision 2030, this is a framework on how the vision is implemented. We have up there the first step, having a vision, which came into place in 2008, and then how the vision is implemented through the medium-term plans. We have the first medium-term plan, the second and the third medium-term plan, and then the sectors under each of the plan. From the medium-term plan, we also have the medium-term expenditure framework, which is also our budget making process, the framework, which is a 3-year rolling plan, the budget plan to implement what has already been planned. And then we have the strategic plans. The ministries, departments, and agencies, they prepare strategic plans to implement the medium-term plan and also the vision initiatives. We have the county integrated development plans. The county governments, they're supposed to come up with a 5-year development plans, which are linked to the medium-term plans and also to the Vision 2030. From the long-term plans, now we have the annual plans, which are prepared on an annual basis, revised on an annual basis to implement the initiatives for that fiscal year. We also have the performance contract. These are some of the result-based instruments or tools which we use to implement our annual plans. And then we also do the midterm and end-term monitoring and evaluation of the vision, the medium-term plans and the annual plans. In terms of the actual achievement and the enablers, you can be able to see the road network has improved. I'll be able to show you the numbers in terms of the kilometers. Issues to do with the electricity connectivity through the last mile projects and also the other initiatives which came in earlier on during MTP1 and MTP2. ICT, the Port of Mombasa performance has also improved. Airport performance with the rehabilitation of JKIA, Kisumu International Airport and Moi International Airport, and also the security. In terms of road network connectivity, you can be able to see during MTP3 period, the number of kilometers which have been paved have improved up to around 21,000 kilometers, which is a 23% improvement. In terms of electricity connectivity to our households, you can see it by 2019, we had 7.5 million in terms of connectivity, and also in terms of energy generation, in terms of the megawatts. You can see the numbers, how they have performed over time. The port performance, the Port of Mombasa, as you are aware, some countries like Uganda, South Sudan, Burundi, they're importing through the Port of Mombasa. You can be able to see the containers being handled in terms of millions, 1.6 million by 2012, from 305,000 in 2002, which is a big improvement in terms of what we are clearing through the port of Mombasa. We also have the numbers in terms of police to population ratio, where you can see now how the numbers are moving. From 2007, we had one policeman being allocated to 1,150 people. Now we are doing at one policeman at a ratio of 1 to 476. You can see there was a drop from 2017 to 2019, and this was occasioned by non-recruitment for the last 3 years. The foundation, some of the key achievements, we have the standard gauge railway line moving from Nairobi to Mombasa, and also we have now the extension from Nairobi to Naivasha, and hopefully we shall be able to reach Kisumu, Malaba, or up to Busia border. We also have the seaports. We have the port of Mombasa and also the Lamu port. Currently, Lamu port, which is one of the projects under the LAPSET program. The first and second parts have already been completed, and they're just waiting the commissioning and also the operationalization of the port activities. In terms of the road bypasses, Kisumu, Nairobi, Dongokundu, Nakuru, Thika Superhighway, and major highways which have already been done, including the Isiolo, Marsabit, Moyale Road, which are under the LAPSET program. We also have the energy, police reforms, national values, and also the national and county spatial plans. Under economic pillar, you can see the GDP, we are doing at 9.7. These are in terms of billions, Kenya shillings. Agriculture output, contribution of horticulture, export, can be able to see we are moving from 121 in 2002 to 328.3 tons in terms of 1,000 tons in 2019. Tourism performance, can be able to see the earnings. We are coming from 21,700 million in 2002 to 163 billion in 2019. This is a very big achievement in terms of contribution to our economy from the tourism sector. The visitors, in terms of arrivals, you can see in 2002 we had 1 million, and currently in 2019, going by the numbers we had in 2019, we are at 2 million international arrivals. We have mega irrigation projects like the Galana Kulalu, the fertilizer mixing plant, oil and other minerals, Turkana-based titanium in Kwale. Business process outsourcing, we have the Konza Technopolis City, which is one of our mega projects we are having under BPOs, or the IT enabled services. The Konza is a smart city which is coming up in the counties of Makueni and Machakos, in the border of the two counties. And the city is being constructed right now. Currently, they have already done a bigger percentage of the horizontal infrastructure in terms of the road, the construction of the administration block, and also the data center, which is ready for commissioning. Under the manufacturing sector, we have the special economic zones and the business parks. Under the special economic zones, we have the Dongokundu, the Lamu, and the Kisumu special economic zones. The planning has already been done, designs have been done, the land has already been gazetted. Only what is needed now is to see the vertical infrastructure coming up into some of these special economic zones. We have the Naivasha business park, which is also another special economic zone, which is ready. From the port of Mombasa now, the train will be able to move the cargo from Mombasa to Naivasha business park. Tourism, the issues to do with the bed capacity, which is improving, and also the hotels increasing in numbers. Under social pillar, this is where we have the issues to do with the gross enrollment. You can be able to see the enrollment has improved over time due to the interventions of the government through free primary education, free day secondary education, enhancements of higher infrastructural facilities in our primary schools, secondary schools, and also universities. The TVET enrollment has also improved from 55,000 in 2002 to 430,000 in 2019. Health indicators, the under 5 mortality rates have been coming down over time. The child infant mortality has also been reducing, and also the maternal mortality rates coming down. This is through initiatives such as Linda Mama programs, First Ladies Beyond Zero programs supporting our women. Under devolution, the devolution came up in 2013. That is after our constitution 2010 coming into place earlier on. And under devolution, we have the 47 county governments. The structures have already been set. Some of the functions have already been devolved. And in terms of issues to do with service delivery, improvement of our health facilities, agricultural facilities, some of the micro enterprises, in terms of the growth of some micro enterprises, industries in our counties, we can be able to see what our counties have been able to deliver to our Kenyans for a period of 7 years now. Political pillar, the judicial reforms, independence of the judiciary, and also the Supreme Court, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the new laws coming into place and being aligned with the new constitution. Some of the challenges which we've been facing in implementing our vision is the size and also the complexity of the flagship projects. As I've told you, flagship projects, these are mega projects, which are also some very complex because of a multi-sectoral approach to implement them, because you cannot have just one project being implemented by one sector or one subsector. They require a lot of coordination along the various multi-sectors which are implementing that project. That has been one of the hindrances to the achievement of some of the flagship projects. The other one is the gestation period. Some of the flagship projects have got long time gestation period. Some will also take even a period of more than 10 years to be implemented, and also for us to be able to see some of the objectives being achieved and the impact. Funding, the flagship projects, they require enormous or quite huge financing, some being financed by the government and others being financed through public-private partnerships. Synchronization and also coordination has also been another challenge, and also various legislation. Like, for example, special economic zones required a law or an act of parliament for us to be able to successfully implement that. And that brought on board the Special Economic Zone Authority and also Special Economic Zone Act. We also have the Konza Techno City Development Authority and also Act of 2015, which operationalized now the implementation of the Konza Techno City. We also have the values and also the attitude issues in terms of the human capital, our staff who are being spearheading the implementation of some of these capital projects or flagship projects. Issues to do with the contractors, people who are working to deliver some of the flagship projects. There are some issues to do with the values. You need to be honest, issues to do with the integrity, issues to do with how you deliver, the quality of your delivery to that assignment. I think that is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening, and sorry for the hitch we had earlier in terms of technology, which we are enhancing to improve also as a country and as a new way of conducting business, both at the private level and also conducting government business. Thank you so much, and I welcome any question from the members. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is a nice presentation. It has broken down figures. It has helped us understand a number of things, where the government is going, and where as a nation we should be dreaming and putting our money and our investment. I appreciate that you have also raised with us the challenges that you are facing as you work on the delivery of this agenda for the government. And so, plenary, I think we'll try and take a few questions. So, John, you will write them somewhere as they come. Then we will give you a response to them.
Thank you.
Naona mikono inaenda juu sana. Kumbe vision wengi sana. Kumbe you are very visionary. You're very visionary. Nani alikuwa anapeana mic? Anaenda wapi ile kujiana na mic? Yes, we'll pick this gentleman. There is another one, and then there is a lady. And we try and go direct to the question so that we save on time. Yes, welcome.
Hello, I'm Kisii from the School of Business and Economics. And my question is just direct on the major challenge in implementing Vision 2030. I think the first point we would have talked of is bad governance and corruption, because this is the vice that is killing our nation. Our government and its leadership just full of empty promises that cannot sustain any activity. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Brandon Manyambe from School of Education. My question is, in consideration with the COVID-19 variants of influence, what are some of the strategies that you put in place to ensure that we achieve the goals of Vision 2018-2022, the Big Four agenda?
There's a lady right behind you. Right behind you, yes.
My name is Joy, and I'm an alumni, and I wanted to ask concerning the medium-term plan. Is the medium-term plan based on regime, or and also on the same? Maybe to ask now that we are yet to really fulfill the third medium-term plan with the next regime that is coming in, are we going to the fourth medium-term plan, or are we still remaining the third medium-term plan?
Thank you. There was another hand there, or that's the same question, and let's take the one behind. And after the gentleman in a t-shirt, jacket, we will hold them there.
My name is Mansur. My question is, we have talked about the GDP of the country raising from 7% to 15% in the year 2019. So my question is, what are the strategies that we put in place to reach that 15% of the GDP of the country? Then a second question is, we have talked about the challenges facing in implementing the 2030 vision. So what are maybe my question would be, how will you overcome the challenges that face the implementation of the 2030 vision? Thank you.
My question is going to food security. In Vision 2030, people are talking about food security. In this present day, for example, a bread, in each one, you go to a shop, it's 55, maybe that. So when you are talking about food security, what are we talking about food security and that? It's very good, right?
The last one from that gentleman there.
I'm Elisha Moses, School of Science. My question is on the GDP, that is the gender-based violence. We understand that GDP is a very is a very, it affects the economy. And economy, we have to know that it's one of the pillars of the vision. Right? So my question is, how are you addressed in the vision that?
Okay, thank you. John, I hope you got all the questions. I think the first question, yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's one lady. Let's give them a chance. We are going to Women's Day. Yes.
I started a business of getting rice from Tanzania and selling it. But you have to pay tax in Tanzania. When you reach Migori, you pay tax. It becomes very expensive for a small business. What is the government doing to make business easier as in the East African region so that can move forward? Okay.
Ms. Brian, I want to appreciate John for a good presentation. And he talked about healthcare. So my question, what is the government doing? Strategy. Yes, my name is Brian. My concerns are, what is the government putting in place in terms of strategies to reduce over-reliance in external donors to support the health sector, and also to reduce over-borrowing from the private sector in terms in order to support the budget.
All right, thank you. Thank you. We'll take those. I know we might have more, but we are now going to look at this. They are close to 8, John. And I hope you got them. But the first one to me was more or less a comment that we need to all look at and reflect bad governance and corruption killing all our agenda of development. So it was good to you. I don't know what you will say. Then there are the rest. Yes, John. You can pick and then we'll see if you miss any, we'll get back to you with the same.
Okay, thank you so much for the brilliant questions. I've been able to pick 5 questions, but I've lost some of the participants. The 5th and the 6th questions, I haven't been able to, they weren't very clear. So, but I'll try to respond to some of them, and others can also be responded by some of our colleagues who are in the room. Because this vision is for all of us. What we do as a secretariat is just to spearhead, to coordinate the implementation of the vision. But this spearheading, we spearhead through various interventions, which I've already mentioned. So in terms of the first question, yes, that was a comment in terms of bad governance, issues to do with corruption. And we've also been able to see what is happening now through our institutions, which have been mandated to fight some of these vices. Issues to do, an institution like EACC, you can be able to see it's moving. At least there is a lot of effort in terms of bringing the culprits into the to account for some of the failures and issues which they're affecting some of the implementation of this project. Issues to do with the governance and rule of law, you can be able to see in our political pillar, the reforms we've had since 2007 in terms of judiciary, establishment of the courts all over the country in major cities, major towns, and also employment in terms of human resource into those of the court, so that we can be able to fast track some of the cases. In terms of the strategies to address the COVID-19 pandemic, to achieve our big 4, that was our second question. And what we've done as a government, last year we embarked on development of the economic recovery strategy for 2020 to 2022. 2021. This is a strategy which is going to help us as a government in terms of reallocation of some of the resources and also reallocation and realignment of some of our government policies towards tackling some of the issues which came up as a result of COVID-19. So the economic recovery strategy, we did it sometimes last year. We started developing the document in July last year. And for the current financial year, the government has also set aside over 50 billion to support the recovery of our economy from the issues to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. The MTP, the third question on the MTP, is it based on a regime? This one, I'll say it's not based on a regime, but it's the MTPs, they are implemented in cycles of 5 years. And 5 years are also tied to the regime of the day, because you cannot separate the economic pillar from the political pillar. So what we did is that the first MTP came into place in 2008 to 2012. That was the first regime, or the second regime of President Mwai Kibaki. We had the second MTP from 2012 to 2013 to 2017. That was the first regime of President Kenyatta. We also had the third MTP 2018 to 2022, which is the second regime of also President Kenyatta. So we cannot say that we are going to change midway or within the course of implementation, but all these things, the political pillar, our electioneering cycle, and also our MTP, the planning cycle, they are moving together, because we have various changes in terms of also the policies, they are also changing. So what we wanted is that after every 5 years, we can sit down and review what has been done, what has not been done, what needs to be done, and depending on some of the emerging issues. Like, for example, now we have COVID-19 as one of the emerging issues which has affected the global economy and also the Kenyan economy. So we need to sit down and realign as we move now towards MTP4, 2022 to 2027. We need to realign some of the interventions so that they can be addressed during that period. So the MTPs, we cannot say that they're not political tools, because whoever who is in power, if we have a new regime, they'll still fit into the planning cycle of the country. And that's why we had to come up with a long-term plan, which is our vision for economic transformation as a country, up to from 2008 to 2030. So regardless of which regime which is in place, we must align our priorities to the vision of the country. In terms of GDP contribution for manufacturing sector, 7.5 to 15% by 2022. The biggest question is some of the strategies which we've come up as a country. And what I would like to say is that we've been able to support the manufacturing sector, because some of the industries which are supporting the manufacturing sector includes the private sector contribution in a bigger way through the Kenya Association of Manufacturers and also the Kippra, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. So what we've done as a government is that we've also increased our contribution or our budgetary allocation towards the support of the manufacturing sector in terms of the Rivertex. You can be able to see the Rivertex company as one of the companies which are producing the clothes for both the local consumption and also for export. The government has put a lot of money in terms of modernization of the factory, the equipment, the capacity building, and also support to the farmers because of the forward and backward linkages of manufacturing, because you cannot talk of manufacturing without the raw materials. So we've been supporting the cotton farmers through the provision of seedlings, fertilizers, inputs, and other inputs, so that we can be able to have raw materials for our manufacturing industry. In terms of the leather industry, as a government, one of the flagship projects is the the leather industrial park in Athi River. The government is now in the process of constructing the effluent treatment plant so that we can be able to have private investors coming to set up the tanneries. You can also be able to see what is happening in our county government, the fruit processing plants in Makueni, the milk processing plants in Murang'a County, and all what is being done in our counties through to support the industrialization and manufacturing. So we cannot say government, because government is not in the business of doing business, but creating that enabling environment for the private sector and also the development partners to come and invest in our local industry. We have the special economic zones, which are also being established. We have the Naivasha one, which is almost ready. We have Kisumu, Dongokundu, and also the Isiolo. So what we need to say is that the government is creating that enabling environment for the private sector to be able now to thrive or to invest in our economy in terms of building the industry. In terms of how to overcome some of the challenges of the Vision 2030 is that in terms of issues to do with the governance, there are various institutions which have been set up. In terms of public sector reforms, you can be able to see some of the reforms which were established even through the Kenya School of Government to train, enhance the technical capacity of government officers and also other officers from the private sector, building the capacity so that we can be able to enhance the service delivery. You can be able to see the reforms in our education sector, the reestablishment of universities all over, almost in the major parts of the country. In terms of unlocking some of these bottlenecks, we can be able to see realignment and revision of some of our government policies so that they can be aligned to what is happening on the ground in terms of contribution, enhancing the contribution to the economy, and also fast-tracking some of the sectors which had been left behind. Kenya is also a signatory to some of the international treaties, like for example, the Sustainable Development Goals, the United Nations Agenda 2030, which is also aligned and linked to our Vision 2030. We have the priorities for our African Union, the Agenda 2063. And also we are signatory to various free trade area agreements. Like for example, the latest one, which we signed the other day, sometimes last year with the United Kingdom, where Kenya is going now to tap into the UK market so that our finished products or our raw materials can be exported direct to the UK. We also have the US agreement, free trade area agreement, which is also being finalized, and other free trade area agreements, like the Africa Continental Free Trade Area agreements, which we are signatories, which we can be able to tap into the market of the African continent. Those are some of the various government interventions which are put in place to be able to fast track the implementation of the vision. The last question was on the issue of a reliance of donors and also reduction of borrowing. What we want to assure is that we are within the fiscal policies in terms of borrowing, and also in terms of what we borrow as government is being put into the use or the right intention. If we are borrowing for infrastructure development, the money is going into the infrastructure development and not otherwise. So as a national treasury has been able to put measures through the debt management strategy, there's a strategy which you can be able to access it in our national treasury website, the debt management strategy, which indicates or highlights, presents the issues to do with the borrowing and how the management of the debt is being handled by the national treasury. In terms of a reliance of donors to handle issues to do with the COVID-19, yes, as a government, we've tried where possible at least to provide some of the improve our health facilities in conjunction with our county government, enhancing the facilities, the medical facilities, the personnel, and also handling issues to do with the striking medical health personnel. So the government has also been also to provide that linkage between, you cannot just live in isolation and say we are going to do it as a government. As you know, our taxes or the revenue which we are collecting as a country is not quite enough to do all what we've been able to plan for the period of up to 2030. So we also need the development partners so that we can join hands together so that we can be able to build the economy. I think those are the ones which I was able to capture clearly. And if there is one which I've left, I think we can get someone also from the plenary or in the room who can be able to contribute. Because this is a discussion for all of us. This is a vision for all of us. So we need to build it into the goal which we want to achieve by the year 2030. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you very much. I think you missed one, but on taxation, and especially in view of the East African community, people want to do business between the East African states, having challenges on double taxation or something like that. I don't know whether that is something you may want to comment on, or but there is something, John, I want you to maybe not to answer. Do you feel frustrated that you have made wonderful strategies, wonderful interventions, and implementation is near zero as a secretariat? Because the questions that I hear on the floor and the other conferences where the secretariat has presented always seem to point that we have wonderful policies, wonderful strategies, interventions, but we still cannot feel them. John.
Okay, yes, there's that debate which has been going along, but you see, for example, the vision, the way it was crafted is not just like a stage that we are now in 2030. Have we achieved, or where are we in terms of the implementation? But what is happening on a day-to-day, that is our vision. The reforms which we've been able to see in terms of even the enhancement of the education sector, in terms of the infrastructural development, that is the vision. Issues to do with the Huduma Center, the public sector reforms. Now our students, they do not need to come all the way to the anniversary towers to be able to make follow-ups of the loans application. You can get it from Kisii, Huduma Center. Those are the reforms we are talking about. That is the vision. What we are doing here today, the technology, I can be able to present all the way from Mombasa to someone who is seated in Kisii. Advancement in terms of technological advancement, infrastructure, and the fiber cabling, which happened sometimes back during the MTP1 period. That is the vision we are talking about. I think the government has been able to do much, but what we need to do also with Kippra as an institution which is mandated to conduct public policy and research, I think we need to come up with a policy or policy document to tell the Kenyans where we are today. This is the position. We are at 30%, we are at 40%, we are at 50% towards the achievement of our long-term goal as a country. Otherwise, we need to join hands together, all of us, the students, the teaching fraternity, the people who are working in different areas, private sector, and also the government, because also the vision was not supposed to be implemented fully, 100% by the government. Government was to provide the enabling environment for the private sector now to be able now to come in and fill in the gap in terms of 70% contribution to the vision achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I think I want to pick what John finished with that. He said, let's make Vision 2030 my vision because it's my country. All of us have a role to play in making it work. Even when we say about corruption, we ask ourselves, what is our contribution towards that, and how are we engendering those aspects of negative or bad governance we're speaking about. Because of time, I want us to appreciate John, and because he's far away, tutampatia ile makofi ya mzee Mzee, tunaelewa. Nyayo, moja, mbili, tatu. Tena. Asante sana. John, kutoka Mombasa mpaka Kisii. Funga. Fungua. Hapo ndio mshangaa. That's the only place I always get lost. Unafunga, unafungua. What is this? Thank you, John. We appreciate your presentation and please continue being with us. But if you rest with another conference pushes you, we greatly appreciate.
Thank you so much. I wish you well.
Thank you, John. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take those two quick points that I see. Joy Tafadhali. Joy is an alumnus of Masai Mara University, and she is here with us. Tafadhali pigia Joy makofi. What a poor Joy. Even clapping is a talent. Clapping is a talent. Kama wewe utainuka na talent yako, wacha tupigie mwenye ameinuka, so that we are able to celebrate and enjoy each other. Joy, we celebrate you and welcome. Share with us in us.
Thank you very much. So I am here to do a poem. Goes by the name Ayamatia, and not deviated, but our national values. Yeah, may be excited. So I pause and appreciate the fact that we have national values meant to bring us into unity, well drafted in our constitution, a display of our national beauty. Values and principles that if adhered to will bring us into liberty. Values and principles that if adhered to will bind us in totality. And when we adhere and not deviated, I'm assured of sustainable development. Equality, social justice, human dignity, all resulting to humanity. Principles that clearly show us as Kenyans how we are supposed to treat each other intimately. Democracy and public participation, which bring us into total freedom of how we should govern the country. Democracy, which is fought by our forefathers, which display our real ownership of the country. Public participation, which gives us a sense of belonging. Because together we participate in the formulation of policies. And when we adhere and not deviated, I'm assured of sustainable development. Sharing and devolution of power, a good strategy of governance. Promoting transparency and accountability through proper management of integrity levels. Non-discrimination and protection of the marginalized, which has gone a long way in promoting patriotism, not forgetting our national unity, which reminds us that as Kenyans, we are meant to be one and never to be divided. And when we adhere and not deviate, I am assured of sustainable development. And therefore, dear Kenyans, this is a plea and a cry to all of us. Let us go back to the Constitution, Article 10. Let us read, understand, and embrace every principle and every value. It is my prayer, my hope, and my simple belief that let all of us be guided by these values and these principles, because when we adhere and not deviate, I am assured of sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Monica, come and crown this, and I hope we are adhering. We are adhering to time also in this conference. So Monica is also an alumnus of Masai Mara University. Masai Mara University. What a Masai Mara. Welcome.
I have a spoken word poem, which is entitled Let's Talk. Let's talk about national values in the governance, in the principles of governance. The Bible says, when two comes together are better than one. And that if we have to work together, we have to have common values. Therefore,
spirit of every individual, every family, every county, and the entire nation to come together and adhere to our common goals, common ideas, and common aims. We cannot talk of national values without incorporating patriotism, national unity. Every time our own elected Choge contest in any marathon, always take the lead on our television to support one of us, because we always believe in the spirit of one Kenya, one people, one destiny. We cannot talk of national values without talking of equality, equity, human dignity, human rights, and also inclusion of the inclusiveness. Every time we cast our ballots, we portray and exercise our democracy with the hope that we're going to get good governance and also attain transparent results with the hope that we're going to attain development which are sustainable to us all as Kenyans. Our national values cannot be achieved if our personal values doesn't align with our personal values. It's the high time that we start incorporating national values at childhood levels. It pains me to see that up to now, our national values are just articulated in the Constitution, which are yet to be fully practiced. It seems like we just guided by the principle of I, myself, and I. Nowadays, even procurement officers are considered fools if they are engaged in selfish gains. They are guided by selfishness, greediness, and corruption. And at the end of it all, we all suffer great inequalities. It's funny how we're talking about social justice when some Kenyans can't even afford a meal a day. They can't even afford basic education or even quality healthcare services. It's funny how even our youth, when they come to offices looking for jobs, we ask them who sent you rather than judging them by the values they are told. It's even tragic how we always use our youth for public practice rather than empowering them, and we're talking about protecting the marginalized. But I understand that achieving our national values isn't a one-day event. It's gonna take us days, it's gonna take us years, or even decades. But we should always be guided by the principle of living towards achieving our national values. They say that individually, I am a drop, but if we come together, we're gonna make an ocean. So I believe that the responsibility of us all to have the spirit and the willingness to live and to do everything that it takes to preserve our national values. My Sunday school teacher told me that even when you die, no one will ever talk about the things that you had. The only thing that will matter are the values that you upheld. So it's my urge that we live to preserve our national values. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Monica. Monica has said something. I wanted to ask John when he said that thing, but I did not get a chance. I forgot. Are youth a vulnerable group? Youth in the house, are you a vulnerable group? Yes. Are you a marginalized group? Yes. Are you a disabled group? No. You see, if you tell your mindset that way, that is your problem. But Monica has said it. She has said very clearly that if we accept to be used, we will continue remaining where we are and our life will continue being messed. But what's of it? She has said this. Our national values are a journey. It is a journey that we are making. As I said, this the scouts our national values is a journey. It's not a one-day event. It's not like we wake up in the morning and yes, we have patriotism. It is something we want to begin to nurture from when we are children, from when we are babies, until the time we are dying. And then she finished and said, it is not so much what you have when you die that is important, but the values that you live. Why the values you live? Because it's the values that touch the people that you engage with, and the people will remember you how you touch them. Can everyone rise up, please? Now, I want us to give ourselves up to now. We have done all very well. I want us to clap for ourselves. I want us to clap for ourselves na tutaclap namna hii. Tunapiga makofi tatu hapa juu, alafu tunasongeza mkono mbele. Tunapiga makofi tatu hapo, alafu tunarudisha nyuma. Tunapiga makofi tatu hapo. Are we ready? Yeah? Are we ready? Okay. Tunaenda hivi. Okay. Kumbe umeelewa. Sasa 3, 2, 1, twende juu. Twende. Nyuma. Kuja mbele. Twende juu. Nyuma. Mbele. Juu. Asante sana. Thank you. Give way. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to continue the conversation that Monica and Joy have introduced us into. This is the conversation on national values. What is the role of us as young people in ensuring that this country, the bad governance we are talking about, the issues of corruption we are raising, how do we contribute towards making this country, my pride? You know, Kenya Airways has a slogan. What is the slogan for Kenya Airways? What is the slogan for Kenya Airways? Pride of Africa. What would be your slogan if you were to put a slogan as a Kenyan? Could you say pride of Kenya? I am the pride of Kenya. Can you say that? I am the pride of Kenya. Can you say that? So you see, after it's like you are not sure. It is you who can make Kenya #1. If you think America is better, it's because Americans behave like America. And we as Kenyans, if we begin behaving as Kenyans, we will make it there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want first of all to acknowledge that present with us, we have the chairman of the National Cohesion and Values Committee of Kisii University. The chairman is here, Bwana Orina. Please tafadhali inuka wakuone. Tafadhali tumpigie makofi. The university has a very special committee that keeps helping us to integrate hiyo maneno mingi wacha nisisome zaidi. And then of course our guest who is going to present to us, Mr. Edward Nyongeza. Tafadhali make your way. Tafadhali mkaribishe na makofi. Makofi ya mrembe. Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning. How are you? It's a pleasure for me this morning to be talking about national values and principles of governance in the context of policy formulation process, and especially talking to young people, talking to young people who represent the future of our country. And therefore, this will be a very important conversation because it speaks not just for us here, it speaks to our nation, it speaks to our tomorrow as a people. And therefore, Madam Director, it's a pleasure for us as a directorate to be part of this discussion every other opportunity when we engage students. As we talk about policy, as we talk about governance, even in the presentation we just had from Vision 2030 about the future development goals of our country, it's very clear even from them that while we have the political, economic, and social pillars that values are, and that they are in the Constitution. What was the rationale for inclusion of those values in the Constitution? And we'll do a quick analysis of where we are now and see what we need to do to get this realized in the context of our society. And when we talk about national values, we are talking about beliefs of a nation. We are talking about what people hold close to their heart, that guide the attitudes they hold towards each other, towards work, towards development, towards whatever it is that is part of our life. And therefore, because of what we believe, then we will conceptualize, we will plan, we will get out to do certain things, we will exhibit certain behavior, and therefore that becomes who we are. Values will define who we are. That is how I want us to see values. The Constitution talks about national values and principles of governance. We want to understand principles of governance, therefore, to mean standards that oblige the state to do certain things, perform certain functions in a way as to promote the welfare of the citizens. What is it that will oblige the state? And by the state here, we are talking about the officers, the institutions, and the people in those institutions to act in a particular way and not in a particular way. They are constrained by those standards. Those are what we are calling principles of governance. That as a public officer, you can go so far in executing your duty. You have a job description, you are resourced to deliver on that job, but the context in which you are going to perform that task is governed by the principles that are set in our Constitution. And as we go along, we'll begin to see that what values we are talking about and what principles of governance we're talking about are actually one and the same thing. In the Constitution, which is the contract that we have with ourselves, that's what the Constitution is, the contract that we have with ourselves and with the institutions that govern us. We have made certain commitments. And among those commitments are that national values and principles of governance are part of it. In Article 10 of the Constitution, we will be looking at those values for the time I have with us. But more importantly, in Article 132, those commitments, because in 2010, we have traveled a long way since independence, from 1963. In the earlier Constitution, we didn't have national values. But our experience, as you will recall, with what happened in Kenya in 2007 and 2008, when we experienced the post-election violence in a manner that was never seen before, when Kenyans turned on each other and started butchering each other, destroying property and doing things that are out of the ordinary, it became a reality that we needed to have developed values. And therefore, the drafters of the Constitution, you will confirm in 2005, that was not there. The proposal to have values in the draft, had we passed the 2005 draft Constitution, we would have missed it. We had to go through 2007, 2008 to see a very clear point that we missed it. We have not developed our human aspect, the software that should hold us. So in 2010, it was felt that we put those those values in the Constitution, and because we had come a long way without them, so that we make them a reality, the drafters committed none other than the head of state, the president, to track the implementation. And they say what is not measured is not done. So it was made that every year the president must say, in Article 132, must address the nation and say, in the last 1 year, my government put in place the following measures to track the realization of these values because they are important. And I should have been here yesterday. Part of the reason I wasn't is because we were helping compile the current report for the president to say what measures government has done in the last year. And the reason why it is that way is that so that we don't lose sight of it, that we must, at every step of the journey, see, do we have values in it? It is something which will need time, but we are getting there. Yes, no? The values in Article 10 are put there with a rider. In Article 10.1 says, national values and principles of governance bind all organs, they bind all officers, all institutions, and all persons. That means there is no exception. It doesn't even say Kenyans. As long as you are on the Kenyan soil, you are bound by those values. And the context of it is whenever any of them applies or interprets the Constitution, and we will be applying or interpreting the Constitution when we seek services. The Constitution says you are entitled to this. To kidai haki yetu, we are implementing and interpreting the Constitution. So that means, as a citizen, those values will apply to you in that context. Number two, whenever any of them acts, applies, or interprets any law, so that either it's a constitutional right or it's a legal requirement. The law says we should get this, or we should do that, then we will be doing that in the context of those values. And number three, now this is a responsibility for those who act. Any of them makes or implements public policy decisions. And from yesterday, we've been talking about public policy. When you're making policy, and we will be talking about policy at national level, at institutional level, and even at the local, within the department, there are policies that operate at that level. So whenever you are putting in place a policy, it must be in context of the values and principles in the Constitution. Now, this is important. Why was it necessary to have these values and principles in the Constitution? There is a reason, and I want to summarize that in 4 reasons. Why was it necessary for us to have these values, and why would we be talking about this? The first reason is in order for us as Kenyans now to be able to create a national identity and to exercise our sovereign power as a people. Sovereign because sovereignty is about independence. We are a nation like any other under the United Nations. And so, for us to be able to create a national identity. Now, a national identity should be understood in the context that there are times when our ethnic identity, our religious identity, and many other identities override our nationality. You will take a good comparison. Somebody here was talking about buying foodstuff, goods from Tanzania coming to sell. And you'll find that across the border, the national identity is at a different level from the national identity in Kenya. Kenyans will first of all identify you in the ethnic dimension. If I came here and said my name is Edward, which is, and stopped there, you will say, you will hear mamas, right? But if I come and say my name is Nyongesa, you'll have no problem. That's good enough. You see that? Why is it? It's because of being appointed to whatever position. A Kenyan quickly wants and that is who we are. That's why the Constitution in the preamble says, we proud of our ethnic identity. We don't regret it. But that's where we begin from. We shouldn't get stuck there. We should move on and create a sense of national identity so that our Kenyanhood overrides any other identities that we carry along. That first of all, what is it that will be for our common good? That's what we prioritize. We will not sacrifice the common good at the expense of what is short-term or individual benefit. Reason number two, why we had those values, is in order to protect the Bill of Rights. And again, that is born from our history, where we are talking about our humanity, our basic needs. In the post-election violence experience, lives were lost. People were maimed. Those who needed help could not get it. We have seen it on very many occasions that sometimes we overlook the needs that are basic for certain individuals and pursue perhaps other interests. So the intention of these national values and principles of governance is that we protect the basic humanity, the human nature in us, that the basic rights of individuals are protected. Number three, it's about good governance, transparency, and accountability. And I like what Joy and Monica just presented to us a while ago. That, and somebody asked in the earlier presentation, that why the biggest reason why we have not achieved the Vision 2030 is because of corruption. That is a reality. So we are saying, how then? Values need to be enablers. And how are they going to be enablers? By creating a commitment from every individual, because those values must be upheld by individuals. A commitment to promote good governance, transparency and accountability, in which case we are talking about resources going to the targeted resources, the reasons and purposes for which they are meant. And lastly, sustainable development, which is talking about having development and continuing to have it. Let's look more closely. The values are 17. Let's look. In creating a national identity, because that is objective number one, having national values. 5 values speak to that. The first 5 of them. And as I said, they are values, but they are also principles of governance. They are values because we must uphold them as individuals. Even when you are an officer, when you have a responsibility, as an individual, you uphold them. But in your official capacity, they become principles of governance because you will execute your mandate in the context of those values. So for us to create a sense of national identity, we must first of all be patriotic. Are you seeing that? It begins with patriotism, which is a love for your country, your willingness to protect and uphold what is Kenyan. That you will not conspire with another person to injure the interests of Kenya. That becomes treason. So we are saying, number one is the value of patriotism. That's why we sing and dance about our Kenyanness. That's why we carry our flag high when we are dealing with other nationalities, be it in sporting activities, be it in branding Kenya as a tourist destination, be it in opening up opportunities for others to come and invest in Kenya. That is patriotism. Then there is national unity, which speaks to willingness to live and work with others, other than those of your own ethnic identity, religious conviction, others, to let them invest. That's what we talk about national unity. To mix. Then number three is sharing and devolution of power, which is an attribute both of governance and interaction. Because naturally, African communities live in the context of sharing. That responsibilities are community. Food, there's nobody who can have too much and somebody else is still. They'll always be aware of distributing resources. But in the sense of governance, because that's what this objective is about, that in our structure of governance, power will not be centralized at the headquarters. Decisions made at Nairobi and all other regions being left out. So there is therefore need to have decisions, resources spread both at the national level and actually created at the county level at the grassroots. So that is one of the values to realize this objective. Then number four is the value of the rule of law. For us to respect one another, there must be a regulator. And that regulator are the rules, are the law and order, the institutions that have been put in place, which make us equal. That if it's wrong for everyone. And everyone who violates or commits an offense should be dealt with in the same manner. That's the rule of law. And lastly, in order to create a national identity and exercise of sovereign power, there is need for democracy and participation of the people as a value. In which case, you don't make decisions for people without consulting them if it's about them. When you want to initiate development, get a sit down with the people and state your intention. You want to bring development, you have this much. What are their priorities? Let them outline, let them agree, let them reason, and then agree on what they want. You want to introduce a policy, you want to change the way of doing things. We have done it this way, it's not worked. We would rather change. You cannot reason and find good reasons and come to implement. It will be rejected. This value means that let's see what you're talking about. There could be other factors why things have been happening the way they are. And therefore, for you to change, you must get buy-in and commitment from the people concerned so that they can now move with you with a new way and you will be successful. So those are the 5 values that speak to creation of a national identity and exercise of sovereign power. The second objective, protecting the Bill of Rights. That we want to respect humanity. And that is why the values under that objective would include human dignity, which is respecting people for who they are. Human life, every individual has a right to life. And therefore, that life must be protected. That individual must live decently. They must not die of hunger. That is indignity. They must not suffer in pain. That is indignity. That is why we talk about health. They must not live in ignorance. That is indignity. That's why access to education will be important. That is in protecting the Bill of Rights. Then equity, which is about fairness, that we cannot have a society of extremes, that some people are extremely rich and others are extremely poor. Some regions are extremely rich, they have all the resources, and others are devoid of. So that's why equity is a balancing approach. Even in the national budget, we have an equalization fund. I think it's about 2%, which is set aside, acknowledging that over time, there are parts of our country that have been ignored. So they are given an extra share of the national resource to bridge that gap. Social justice, that means having a fair share, the spread of wealth. Then we have inclusiveness, getting everybody to be at the table, to be included in whatever the public and the state is planning. Equality, human rights, non-discrimination, and protection of the marginalized. Those are the list of values. And this is important because once we address our human needs, our basic human needs, then we will be in a good state to engage in developing our economy. The next objective was about good governance. And I already spoke about this. That good governance is about how we use public resources. Because we do have annual budgets, we do appropriate resources to certain goals and objectives. But along the way, there's pilferage, there are leakages, and there are losses, which we describe as corruption and theft. So then, in good governance, we seek to instill discipline in how we use our resources. Beginning from how the offices, the institutions account for the resources they have. So there is the requirement to publicly account, and then legislation like access to information, where the citizen has a right to demand to know what is happening where. That is for good governance. Integrity, we're talking about one leaf, just being accountable. And then transparency, meaning sharing information about the things you do, how you do, and where you take the resources. Then finally is the value of sustainable development, where we all want to spend a lot of interest. We want to see why are we not getting development. And here is talking about having development today and continuing to have it, so that we don't use resources as though the world is ending today. So we must plan and have a way, a pattern that ensures that we continue to have development in our country. This includes having succession plans, that one generation must be having the next generation involved in the business of managing, so that we have information transfer, technology transfer, and growth as we transcend from one generation to another. We talk about enhancing capacities, that as systems change, ways of doing things will always change. So we must adapt to the changes so that we get the benefit and take advantage of opportunities that arise. And it also involves mentorship. That we don't have to wait until you are there, then you are ushered into a responsibility that you are not prepared for. So that's why a program like what we are having, mentorship in policy making process, is a good one for young people. That you will grow into the process of governance. You know how and what it takes to make decisions. That is part of sustainable development. And lastly, using our resources optimally. Using the resources that we have. It's only recently we discovered we have petroleum in Turkana. It has not just happened. We have always had it. But because we did not direct our researches, our survey since independence, we are just discovering now. That tells you that every part of this country has an opportunity that we need to explore. So that exploring those resources will then give us an opportunity to develop our country. And that is what we call the value of sustainable development. Now, at this stage, I just wanted us to reflect on where we are. And I wanted to break this sitting, this comfort we are in, a bit, if you allow. Yes. So that I want you to have a conversation where you are, in groups of up to 10 or so, on these two questions. In your view, for the values we have run through from number 1 to 17, do you think we have, to what extent have we realized these values? And here I'm talking about either we have not, we are doing well, or we are excellent, we have done very well. In your own assessment, and you tell us why you think so. All right? Then number 2, what do you think we should do differently? If you think we have achieved, maybe to keep it up. If you think we have not achieved yet, in order to enhance the realization of those values. Did you hear me? Yes. So please turn around in groups of about 10 of you where you are, and then have this conversation. And I would want to get your feedback. Just give you 5 minutes. Hello? Don't just look at me, turn around and have this conversation.